Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Collection Mania Monday and we are on the U's. So we have our Uni colored pencils here. These are done by the Mitsubishi Company Ltd. This set is the 100 set. It's the largest set that you can get with the Uni colored pencils. And let's see if we can open it. It has a cover that has a magnetic couple of magnets that hold it closed, and then it has, as you may recognize, the tilting holders. Now this is the set that actually inspired my pencil holder design. My husband saw this design and I was looking for a way of actually removing the design from the box so that I could put it on my desk. And there's just no way to do that without completely ruining it. So my husband designed a pencil holder to hold a set of colored pencils that I had. I think it was my Faber-Castells that I wanted on my desk. This also sat on my desk as well. It's a very large box, so it's very cumbersome when it comes to sitting on your desk. You can't sit it on your desk and have it opened without taking up a whole lot of space, unlike my pencil holders. And it only holds 4 pencils per slot, and they click out so that you can get to your pencils. And as you can see, I have used this set. I have had this set for approximately 4 years, 5 years. This is one of the first expensive sets of pencils that I ever received. And they're really nice. I really enjoy them. I stopped using them as much as I used to because I don't want them to all disappear. Some of them started getting short, like this fella here. There are some in here that I don't use a whole lot. In my earlier coloring years, I probably would use them a whole lot more now than I did then. I went through and I took some labels from label stickers, and I just put the colors on the fronts here so that I could see what they are. I'm going to turn the box here for you so you can see what's in the lid. Now it's going to be upside down, but in the lid it has a card that comes out that has all of your colors and their names and everything else. And there we go. And it slides out if you want to take it out. Now you could easily remove the top cover here, but I don't think that there's any necessity to do so because I like to store them in this box. So it keeps them all nice and cozy. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the pencils themselves. I'm going to stand this up. So as you can see, you can stand it up like this, and then your pencils come forward like that. So I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to switch on over to the close-up camera so you can see a little bit closer. So this, of course, has the color name, the number, made in Japan. And then on this side, it has your establishment date, the Mitsubishi, as well as colored pencil, and the Uni on that side. Now these are all done in a gold labeling. So on these other lighter pencils, it is a little more difficult to see. I like the fact that they had all the names and numbers on the pencils as well as in here. So as you can see with your chart, it gives you your color names and numbers. Up here, it gives you what color is in each line. just number wise though, so you can match it up with your color chart below, which is really cool. I'm glad that they did that. Alright, so let's take a look at my swatch chart. I did do an actual swatch chart of it as well as the swatches on the front of the pencil holders, because sometimes you're going through your book and you just want to check and see what pencils would work best for what you're doing. And the best way for me to do that was to do an entire swatch cheat sheet and keep it in my swatch book. So we've got our whites into our ivories, into our yellows, into our oranges, our reds, into our pinks, into our peachy tones, into our beige, and then into our light purples. For me, this set doesn't have as much purple as I would like. So we have our light red violets into our red violets into an actual violet and dark violet. And then we have our blues. And this set does have a really, really good selection of blues, including a fantastic selection of light blues into our aquatic blues as well. And then we go into our greens. And it has a really good selection of dark greens. It's a little lacking, in my opinion, for light greens. It has some yellow greens that work really well. But it doesn't have, like, it only has one medium dark green or medium light green, which is the moss green in the yellow green. There we go. But it does have the brilliant green, which is a good blue-green color. And then we go into our yellow browns, and then into our red browns, and then our dark browns and our grays. It is lacking in gray as well, in my opinion. So we have our light gray, silver gray, warm gray, blue gray, dark gray. Well, actually, it's got a pretty good selection of grays. I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry, guys. I think it was a lack of cool grays. They have quite a few of the brownie grays and not as many cool grays as they do the brownie grays. And then they also have 3 metallics that actually work quite nicely. Yeah, it's their cool grays they're lacking in my opinion, because they've only got 3 a light, medium, and a dark cool gray, and then we start getting into our brown grays. All right. So that is the swatch chart for these pencils. We are, of course, going to color with them today, and yesterday, unfortunately, I got busy with watching the Potterathon and, household things, and I ended up not doing my hug. So today we will be doing our hug because I felt horrible yesterday not doing the hug. So I'm just going to zoom this out a little bit so you can see without my hand being in the way. And there we go. And I'm going to raise this up just a touch. There we go. So the hug we're going to be working on today, we have this one from yesterday as well as this one for today. So we're going to get quite a few different colors worked with today. So we're going to start with our skin tones. And of course, because these are vampires, they're going to have a much lighter skin tone. And we'll see how well these work compared to, say, the Uni Posca colored pencils that I also have. Now this picture here and this picture here. Both were done with the Uni Posca colored pencils. So we'll see how well the Uni, Mitsubishi Uni colored pencils do. So I'm just putting down a light coat of 520, which is beige. On the skin tones here. And then we're going to take this one here, which is 521 Lilac. And we're just going to move this out of the way because it's hurting my arm. So I'm just going to move it over so I can get to the pencils easier. Oh, my desk is a mess. Without putting my arm on it, hurting myself. Now they do sharpen with the Dull 133 sharpener. I find that these are not, they're really smooth, but I'm not seeing as much, but these are really light colors, so I'm not seeing as much pigment as I would like. But it may just be because of the fact that these are really, really light colors that I've used so far. Sorry about that. I had to clear my throat for some reason. Now I'm using these tones because I want the skin tones to be very white. So I'm using the lavender or the lilac and the beige ivory kind of color to shadow and start off because I want the skin tones to be, they're supposed to be on, vampires are supposed to be not into the sun, so we'll make sure that they look a little lacking in the sunlight. But this is was one of my absolutely favorite sets of pencils until I got a few others. It's not that it's not one of my favorites, it's just not as favored as it used to be. Now, another thing that I don't like about this set is because I'm used to the way my pencil holder works and getting it to tip forward far enough for me to get into all of the pencils is a little more difficult than I'm used to because of my pencil holder. Now I'm using number 518, which is Flesh, and I'm going over that creamy tone. And because I put down the creamy tone as well as the lilac, the light purple tone, the Flesh tone is a lot lighter. Now I think I want a little bit darker, so I'm going to grab this one, which is Cinnamon. I just want a little bit more coming off of those shadows, a little bit darker. Just because there's a shadow there. Now these don't blend as well as I would like. They do layer quite nicely though. These are made with a synthetic wax. It's not not like an oil base or anything. It's a special formulation of synthetic waxes, so they're very sustainable. This set is, when I bought it, or when it was bought for me, because my husband bought it for me for Christmas one year, it was a lot less expensive than it is now. So hopefully they can bring those prices down a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side with the cinnamon. Well, on him instead of her. And we're just going to extend that shadow area out a little in the deepest shadows, like the side of his face that's turned. And then we're going to add the flesh tone. And I'm not doing it very heavy. I'm doing it quite light. Just adding enough of that flesh tone for it not to look like he's got white makeup on. That's one thing that always bugged me about movie vampires and stuff like that, is it always looks like they have a really good thick coat of white makeup on. And they're not supposed to look like they have makeup on. So now I'm going to go in with, no, that's dark flesh, that's not what I want. We're going to go back in with the light flesh. The other one was just flesh, so it has light flesh, dark flesh, and flesh. So I just went into some of the lighter areas with the light flesh. Now I'm going to go back in with the beige and just blend it all together. Now I could do this with white, or I could do this with a blender pencil, but I want them to have that, still have that tone, but have it be light. And if I was to do it with white, of course it would blend it right out. So alright, now we're going to do I want indigo. This is indigo, so we're going to do his cape. With the indigo into the black. I think I need to sharpen this one. I'm not getting into the areas I want to get into. So we'll give it a good sharpen, which gives me a really good point. It's got a really thick, I do believe, a 4mm core, or a 3.88, but it has a really good thick core. So, and they hold their point very, very nicely. They're still smooth and that sort of thing. However, they definitely don't require a heavy hand, but you can be heavy-handed with them and still maintain that point. So I'm just going over the entire cape with the blue, and then we'll come back in with the black. And areas where the black is, I'm just blanketing it. And concentrating a little bit harder in the areas that there's some light, some white areas. Now, after using the Uni Posca pencils, I can definitely tell you that these are a different blend. They're not as smooth, or not as soft, I should say, not smooth, but soft. They're not as soft as the Uni Posca pencils. The Uni Posca pencils are also blended with the synthetic wax blend that the Mitsubishi company created. However, I think they are a higher level of the wax, where these are, or I'm not quite sure. I just know that they're coloring with them, they're a little bit smoother. Well, not even, they're softer. They squish easier, if that makes sense. Brain is trying to convey the feel of these pencils compared to the feel of a different pencil. It's just my brain's just not working with it. But yeah, they feel a little bit harder. They're still smooth. They still lay down a really good layer of pigment. And like I said, you don't have to work with these with a heavy hand, but you can if you choose to, without without any issues. Yeah, I had these ones before I even had Prismas. I got these ones, I think, for our anniversary, and then for Christmas he got me a set of Faber-Castells. And of course I wanted to use them all. So keeping my Faber-Castells and my Uni pencils on the desk, I went, I like this. Can you make me this? Because he had just started getting into the 3D printing at that time too. Alright, now we're going to go in with black into the black areas. And we're going to blend it into that blue, creating the reflection on his shiny cloak here as he wraps her up and nibbles on her neck. So as you can see with this picture, we're not going to have a whole lot of different colors used, but on the next picture, because we are going to do two pictures today, the one from yesterday, which is this one, because I didn't get to it, and of course today's as well. So we're not going to have a whole lot of different colors in this one, but the next one it looks like it's going to require more colors. So it'll give you a better view of the different colors and layering and blending and that sort of thing. This gives you a good view of the blacks and the blues, as well as some of the skin tones. Like I said, it does have three flesh colors. It has a light, a medium, and a dark, well, a light, a regular, and a dark flesh level in the light flesh tones. And they do work really well for flesh if you're working with the light flesh. Which a lot of us do because it is a much easier blend than a darker skin tone for some people. I have seen some people do some gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous blends for the darker skin tones. I am not, I'm okay with it. I can do it, but it does take a lot of work for me to get it to look the way I want it to. And I'm lazy. So I enjoy coloring. I don't enjoy working on it. But I do have some pencils that do work very, very nicely for a darker skin tone where it's not a lot of work. Okay, so we have his cape done. Now we're going to leave that black out. Oh, well, we might use this one. So that one was just straight black. And then we also have this one here, which is dark sepia, and it has a black undertone to it. But what we're going to do is we're going to use our dark gray. I think it's this one that I want. Yes. This is the slate gray, and we're going to do his hair. I'm going to sharpen this. We're going to do the highlight areas of his hair with the slate gray, and then we're going to do a little bit of sepia and then the rest black. Now there's not a lot of room on this little picture to flick, so I'm just going to block color it. Don't like doing that with hair, but sometimes you just kind of have to. Alright, now we're going to take our sepia. I'm going to give it a sharpen. And we're just going to come in and just try to do little flicks into that gray, extending that black out. And then we're going to take our black and we're going to cry as we sharpen it because it's getting short. And then we're going to just do the black areas here. This is a pencil that works better going from light to dark. I have done dark to light with it. I do find it works a lot better going from light to dark. Alright. Okay. Now, his eyebrows. This one here as well. Okay, now we're going to do hers. We're going to do start off with cream. We're going to do her as a bit of a blonde. So we're going to start off with cream. And we're just going to blanket color. I know doing 2 of these hugs is going to extend the video today a little bit longer than I normally go, but it's kind of worth it. So, kind of. And then we're going to go in with golden ochre. I'm just going to give it a bit of a sharpen, just to give us that point. Like I said, the smallness of the picture doesn't really give you a lot of opportunity to flick, but you can work with it and try to get those darker shadowed areas. And then we're going to use, I think it's this one, yeah. Brown ochre. So this is brown ochre, number 556. And we're just extending that shadow area out a little bit. Getting the creases of her hair, curves and folds of her hair. And then we're going to take that cream again, and we're just going to blend it all together and darken it up a little bit. And then I noticed that I missed her little feet down here, so we're going to take that dark flesh tone and the flesh tone. And then the cream. That's not the right one. Then the cream to blend it all together. And there we have our vampires. So we're just going to mark this one as hug number, where is it? There we go. So this is hug number 59. And let's try to make our pen work. There we go. October 18th. is our vampire hug. And I know we're behind a day, so for all of you that were able to get your hug out yesterday, congratulations and thank you for doing that. And that's 2021. And now the next one we're going to do is this one, which is a lot more in our purples and greens and that kind of color. It's a wonderful little alien hug, a squiddy type alien hug. They look like they're everywhere. Alright, so we're going to start with this one here, and we're going to work in some pinks, I think. So the first one I'm going to use is Rose Pink number 604. And we're just going to start with I think I need to go a little darker than that. What's that one? That's salmon. Yeah, I think this is one of the darker pinks. But this one, no, that's just rose. Yeah. So we're going to actually color everything with a light pink, and then we'll put in our dark, because I keep on forgetting that you can't do that with these pencils. You have to be careful with these pencils, because doing it from dark to light sometimes will not work. So I'm just blanket covering with the light pink. Like so. Alright, and then we're going to take the next tone, which is rose, and we're just going to come in to those darker areas, shadow areas, and extend them out. So as you can see, it's very simple to build color with these. They do build color a lot easier if you do the light to dark. If you go from dark to light, because of the formulation of these pencils, sometimes you can end up not getting the depth of color you want in the areas you want it to be. If that makes any sense at all. So I hope everybody had fun during the Harry Potter-a-thon. I know I had a blast. It was so fun to watch everybody and their different crafts and the different things that make them happy. Different Harry Potter themed things. Like, I just love watching Emily do the Lego and baking and all that fun stuff. So now I'm just going up into this collar here, like that. And then we're going to take our dark rose pink, which is number 604, and we're just going to build up that shadow a little bit here. And like I said, this paper is definitely not made for coloring books and coloring pencils. So getting many different layers can be impossible depending upon the type of pencil. So I'm probably not going to get as many layers on this as I would like. In the depth that I want them to be. And then we're going to take another reddish kind of pink here, more of a purpley pink, so this is fuchsia purple. I'm just going to put some just in the really, really, really dark areas where those shadows are really deep. That. Now we're going to take the itch off my nose. I hate it when my nose is itchy. I'm going to take some purple and we're going to do the edges and her buttons. Or his. I just assume it's a her. So this one is heliotrope number 522. And I'm just blanket coloring things. Making sure I get the cuffs and collars and that sort of thing. And her little buttons. This is a very pale tone, so hopefully you can see it. If not, I'm sorry. And then we're going to take dark violet. Actually, I might want just violet. just going to take straight violet. And we're just going to go into the darker areas. Like so. And the buttons. Make sure we get the shadow there. Hopefully you guys can see all that. It's such a small picture. Sometimes you just end up getting lost in the color. Or the color ends up getting lost, one or the other. And of course, you know, this camera has random days where it just doesn't want to show any colors. It says, oh yeah, I know you put color down. I'm not going to show anybody what those colors were. It just looks like it's off-white. Or with green, it turns it into a weird gray. It's just weird all the way around. Alright, now for her body, we're going to take this one, I think, yeah, which is orange. And we're just going to put a light layer of orange. Through all of her little hair, and I don't know what it's called. I assume it's hair, but her lower body is the same way, so I'm not positive on that. They could be tendrils, I guess. Like so. And like I said, I'm just doing a very light coat of the orange, and we'll build off of that color. Alright, as you can see, it does seem to be laying down color fairly nicely. And I am just loosely laying down this color. I'm not putting any amount of pressure, and I'm not trying to what's the word? Kill the tooth of the paper. I want to keep some of that white spot open for another few colors. So all right. So this coming Wednesday, we have a wonderful color, a joint color between myself and a couple other YouTubers that I have invited, and Heather Valentin. That is going to be coloring her work, and she is going to join us in chat, so you can talk to her and ask her questions, that sort of thing. Just give her time to answer for the fact that she will be in chat. I'm going to see if I can get her to come in and actually physically chat with us. But with her health conditions and that sort of thing, it's not ever guaranteed. So, and if she can, she can. If she can't, that's fine too. I'm not unreasonable. Alright, so now we're going to go in with a bit of scarlet. Actually, I'm going to go in with this one first. So I'm going to go in with light vermilion first, and then we'll go in with a bit of scarlet. The great thing about the bottom of the box is it is a great place to put all your pencils so that they don't roll off your desk before you put them all away. I'm just going into the darker areas of her hair, tendrils, whatever you want to call them. All those shadowy areas. Of course, next weekend as well, we have another colorathon, which is fantastic. Sorry about the train. We have another colorathon done by Shell Arty that I will be participating in. I will be on at my normal Saturday morning time, but we will be coloring something spooky and Halloweenish. Well, not really spooky because I don't do spooky, but we'll be coloring a Halloween picture. More than likely, I will tie my own October theme into it and color something from Heather Valentin, since we are featuring her as an artist of the month here, because her birthday is on October 31st. I wanted to make sure that she had as much recognition and acknowledgement as she deserves. And she's a fantastic artist. So I hope you are ready for both of those, which will be lots of fun. We also have our anniversary, the channel 1 year anniversary coming up as well. And I've got a few things planned for that. Hopefully I will be able to put a schedule for that up in the community tab at some point soon. So yeah, lots of fun things going on. So I'm still just going through and doing the medium to dark areas with this light vermilion. which is number 507 for these pencils. Now I cannot guarantee what color it would be in a different pencil set. I don't have any other sets open, and I don't usually, I try not to do a comparison between pencils because, unless they're coming from the same manufacturer or the same company, because every company has their own way of either telling the people in China what to do and how to do it, or their own formulation for their own factories. So, okay, so now we're going to go in with Scarlet, and we're just going to go right into those really heavy dark areas. Like so. It looks like she's a little bit see-through there because I can see Dad's legs right through. Alright, now we're going to move on up. Another thing I have noticed with these pencils is they work better if you keep a good sharp point on them. And I know most pencils do, but these ones here seem to, I don't know, they just don't seem to color as well. And they don't cut into the other color as well if you don't have a good sharp point. And I know Emily Illustrates just received these pencils. I hope she enjoys them because they are a lovely set of pencils. And like I said, she has one of my pencil holders, and that was designed after receiving this set of pencils. So the inspiration for that design, it does come from the Mitsubishi design. My husband just tweaked it a little bit and redesigned it so that it fit what my needs were for my other pencils, my other sets. And now for all of you. I do have a couple of really good special things coming up for the Christmas season with the pencil holders. Bob is in the processes of putting that together right now. And what I'm going to be doing is I have, and I will be showing once it's all finished, I have Bob printing a multicolor holder, one that has many different colors for the pullouts. So you're going to end up with two of the yellows, 2 oranges, 2 reds, 2 blues, 2 greens, 2 purples, 2 pinks, and 1 gray, 1 brown, and 1 black. So that you can disperse your pencils throughout the holder in color family areas. So if you do what I used to do when I first started using my pencil holders, back when I had not as many pencil sets, and even now I still do it every once in a while, I'll take an entire set and put it in the holder and use that set on my desk for the month or the week or whatever, and then put a different set in. I do that all the time. Alright, so we're all done with the scarlet red. I think that was, scarlet, which is number 509 if I didn't show you. Now we're going to go back in with the orange, which is 506, and we're just going to darken it up. And fill in the tooth of the paper that we left behind. On those lighter areas. Yeah, I did. I was going to say, did I finish down there? Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't think I put any red down there. I'm just going to put in a little bit more, I think. Yeah. I don't know if I put any scarlet down here. It looks like I put the dark orange, but I don't know if I put actually any scarlet. I don't think I did because I would have done under there. Looks like I put the light vermilion in, but I didn't put the scarlet in. And if I did, I didn't do it dark enough. Alright, that's a little better. That's a better. Now I'm just going to once again go back in with this orange. And we're just going to fill in all the white spot areas. I know, embrace the white spot. I hear you, Shannon. But on this one, because of the fact that she is a little bit see-through, because we can see Pop's legs behind her there. We're not going to press as hard in that area. Alright, so there we go. Itch in my ear. Alright. Hate it when I get itches in my ears. They drive me crazy. Now we're going to take our aquatic-y colors. So we're going to take this one and this one. This one. So we're going to start with the ocean blue. We're going to sharpen this up. I think that's where we want to start. Yeah. No. No, let's start here. Yeah, let's start with the blue-green. And we're going to do his tentacles. With the light color. And I think I need to sharpen it a little bit, especially with having to bite into that orange a bit. Now, I will be able to show that a little bit more with the darker colors, of course. Just putting in enough back there that you can see that he has tendrils back there. Like so. Just make sure I've got all of the tendrils themselves. And now we're going to do his face and his neck area here. And we're just blanket coloring with this light color here first to start with. And we'll work off of it. Okay, so you guys can barely see that, of course. So the next color we're going to use is the ocean blue. Just going in and putting in that darker area, leaving some white, well, light area there. Oh, that's not supposed to be that color. I need my eraser. And these do erase quite nicely, so that is a part of his sweater there. And we're going to do down here. And then once we get all of his legs and all that fun stuff taken care of, something in there. Piece of an eraser got under the page. Okay, and then up here. Now on his face I'm doing things a little bit differently because I don't want to take up a lot of his face with the light. I want it to have a little bit of both this medium tone as well as the light, and the dark tone is going to be very minimal. So I'm extending this medium tone out a little bit further than I did on the arms. Because I want more of this medium tone than dark tone. And I'm going all the way to the edges in between his fins here and the webbing of his fins, if that makes sense. Because these look like little squid type people, little squid alien types. So now we're going to take our pencils and put them in here. Now we're going to take Peacock Blue, which is number 614. I'm going to make sure that it has a good sharp point. And we're just going to do the really dark areas. here. Again, the really dark areas. Just making sure that you can see his colors behind hers, because she is a little bit translucent. Alright, now up here on the face. Sorry, I had to turn you so I can get into the really deep areas here. And somehow I just poked a hole in it, so be careful. Like I said, this paper is not the best paper, and if you press too hard you can easily poke a hole in it. So if you're heavy-handed, be very careful. Okay, just finishing up his areas here. And then we're going to go over it again with that light. And just blending it all together. One of the things I have noticed with these pencils, after coloring with them for a long time, some of my colorings that I have done with these pencils do get a little bit more wax bloom on them than I'm used to, but not as much as, say, Prismacolors or things like that. It's a synthetic wax, so it doesn't bloom the same way. It just doesn't look as crisp as it did when you laid it down. If that makes any sense at all, which it probably doesn't. Alright, now to do his outfit, we're going to go with some dark greens. So let's go first of all with a nice light green. So we're going to go with moss green first. And sharpen it up. And we're just going to coat everything with a top coat. sure I'm doing all the areas here. Now I'm working on this as if it was clothing because of the buttons and that sort of thing, unlike the squids that we did earlier in September. Because they looked more squid-like, I worked them like they were squid-like. Now we're going to go in with a sap green. This is one of my favorite greens in this set. And we're going to just do the start of the shadow area. We're going to extend that out so that when we put the really dark shadows in, there'll be something for it to work off of. Like so. So as you can see, we've used many different levels of color here. We've used some oranges, we've used some pinks, we've used some greens and blues, and all seem to be working quite well together. I'm able to layer quite a few layers um, to get that look that I want. On paper that is not meant to be a coloring book or colored on. So I think that's pretty good. It seems to be doing quite well on this paper. But like I said, there's a couple of drawbacks to them. One of which, because they are a synthetic wax, you're not going to be able to blend these as well with other pencils than with each other. So if you're going to use these, say, with your Faber-Castells or your oil-based pencils, you're going to find it very, very difficult to blend these into that. They do blend okay with the wax-based pencils, but they still do take up a lot more tooth and make working with the wax-based pencils a little bit more difficult. Alright, so now we're going to take dark green and I'm going to sharpen it. And we're going to do his shadow areas. It's amazing how many pencils such a small picture takes. Before, when I first started using these types of pencils and this set in particular, it would be one and done. It's like maybe two. I want that to be green. So let's put some light green here for a highlight, and the rest is going to be green. Now I'm doing weird things like adding dark greens and blues and yeah. Don't mind me turning the page or turning the book. There's a certain direction that the clothing is moving in that if I don't follow it fairly well, it's going to lose that dimensional look. Because yeah, I'm not all that great with doing that. I'm not good with clothes. I can color them, but I can't make them look, fantastic without moving things. So I'm not going all the way to the end of the extension lines there, just a little bit into them, letting that darker green that I just used, the sap green, show through. Now we're going to do the dark green buttons. There and there. And then we're going to take that light green again, and we're just going to fill it in. Alright, now let's see how well this blends with our Caran d'Ache blender. So I'm going to start here on her back. And they blend quite nicely with the Caran d'Ache blender stick. It's softening that edge quite a bit. Blending that harder edge in. Which is great. And we're going to do the same thing up here on his whatever it is. Sweater, lab coat, whatever. Prison uniform, that sort of thing. Alright. I'm quite impressed on how well these are doing with the Caran d'Ache blender. They did not do well with the Prisma blender at all. When I first started coloring this, the only blender I knew about was the Prisma. And I didn't like it then, don't like it now. Not a huge fan of the Prismacolor blender. Alright, now we're going little bit of this for the ocean floor. And then we want, I think it's this one, yeah, dark sepia, which is 563. The one we just used is 556, which is brown ochre. Now we're going to go in with the dark sepia and put in those shadows. Okay. And there we have our cute little adorable little fellas. So this one here is also October 18th, 2021. And this one here is number 60. So we have colored 60 hugs so far. So I'm going to show you on the other camera here the mess of what happens when you color with these pencils. So this all goes back once you've put your pencils back in. The great thing about this set of pencils is you have a space to put your pencils when you're using them. So if you don't have one of my pencil holders, but you have this set, you will enjoy this factor of it. You don't have to worry about your pencils falling off the desk. My biggest issue with this that I have come across is that I lose the pencils in there, which is a little bit of a pain to get out. They do work very well with the Caran d'Ache blender as well as with each other. So I wouldn't use them with an oil-based pencil. They don't blend as well with an oil-based pencil. And I find that with a wax-based pencil, they'll blend a little bit, but they're a different type of wax than normal pencil wax. This is a synthetic wax created by the Mitsubishi company. Alright, so let's take a look at the hugs. So I'm going to zoom you in, and our colorful hug for today are these two, which are just so cute. And as you can see, the color laid down very vibrantly for this paper. So, and then we have our Dracula, which is very fitting for this time of year. So those are our hugs of the day. And like I said, these pencils work really nicely. The next hug, of course, will be these wonderful bats, and that will be tomorrow's hug. So I hope to see you tomorrow for our hug of the day, as well as Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Wednesday, we might, well, we'll do the hug, but we'll do that at a different time than the live stream, because the live stream is going to be all about Heather Valentin. Alright guys, so that is 100 Hugs by Chris Riddell. We did 2 hugs today to make up for the lack of hug yesterday. Sorry about that. Life gets in the way sometimes. life and wants get in the way sometimes. Of course, we will have a hug tomorrow during our Tips and Tricks Tuesday. If you have any suggestions on what you would like to see me do on Tips and Tricks Tuesday, please leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will do my best to look into that and see if I know how to do it. Yeah, other than that, guys, I have a couple of special things coming up, and once they are put together and completed, I will let you know. And of course, this weekend we have another colorathon with Shell Arty that I will be participating in. I will be on my normal time on Saturday morning. I just will be participating in the colorathon. During the colorathons, I will let you know that I do try to make sure I support each and every one of the channels that join into the colorathons. So I do watch a lot of videos on those weekends, and I lose track of time. So if you don't notice a change in the tips, the coupon tips and the deals of the day and that sort of thing, it's because I have gotten sidetracked with the videos and forgotten. Most of the deals are usually still good, so check them anyway. For the ones that aren't any good, I'm sorry. What else was I going to say? Yeah, other than that, come hang out with me. I will be putting up a post for that colorathon coming up, and hopefully Shell will have me a schedule at that point so that I can send you in the direction of all the people participating. Make sure you ring the bells on it so that and like or ring the bells and subscribe to the ones that you're not already subscribed to. Um, and hopefully we'll have some new things to look at, and of course, some well loved and wonderful friends to hang out with. All right, guys, until tomorrow, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you very much for coloring with me. And of course, always, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until tomorrow, guys, bye bye for now.